nasty lockjaw just attacked my home, and I cannot remember for the life of my only child the answer to your question.
40 degrees Celsius, which is minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit as well. That's where they both meet up. So with that extreme weather, I'm actually going to hunker down tonight in a U-Haul van because the price is right at $19.95 in town, plus kilometers if I don't drive too far. And it's a lot safer than going into the river valley to play cat and mouse with the park rangers because this is serious weather. People do die out here. So until I'm more experienced in this temperature with just what I can carry in a backpack, I'm going to be in here for now. So eventually I'll get it down, but it's so hard to carry all that gear that you need for these temperatures in just a backpack and look inconspicuous. So I'm going to throw all this together. I'll get back set up. I've got moving blankets that I'm going to hang up in here, and I think a magnet will hold them on. So I'm going to run into the store, grab a magnet. That was kind of cool. I ran into a subscriber here. He was honking at me. But yeah, these moving blankets should give us some insulation in here. And I know this is not a typical normal camping video, so apologies ahead of time. But I do rotate through a stealth one, then a strange one, then a project build, and then kind of a normal one. So stay patient if you're not into this sort of thing, but otherwise, like, I don't mind if you bail on this video, obviously. But we'll get these moving blankets up, and we'll get this whole thing set up. I got these little ceramic bar magnets, and I'm trying to use them to hold this on. They're not all that strong, but where there's a will, there's a way. Pinch these in here, and we'll get, this will be some nice, good insulation, and it'll help block out a lot of the front of the cab so nobody can see the hunkering down that's going on in here. Got some of it set up here. It's actually working out fairly good. I haven't closed off this panel here yet because the engine's running and that's letting some heat through. And this one I'll close off a little later because that's my in and out door to get in and out. Unfortunately, they don't have a little door between the front and back. So it's going to work. I'm going to move on to a different location here and get this more permanently set up. We're going to scope for an actual spot to set this up tonight. Okay. Most of these supercenter parking lots like Walmart and stuff, some are friendly, many are not. This one is not, but there's no thrill in this if you're allowed to just park at Walmart. So I got to show you a few other potential areas that are always good for looking for a spot to park in a pinch. And, you know, I've known people that have, I don't know them personally, but I've heard of people that will rent a van like this and take it on vacation like an RV. You know, get a big one and throw a full bed in the back and get it all set up. And it costs a fraction of renting an RV. And you got an awful lot of space enclosed. So that's, I know I'm not the first person to do this either. So I just figured it would be a fun one for today. We're going to hit the industrial area. And I'll point out a few things about the industrial area. Well, this is your typical business park, business/industrial area. And it looks like it does fit in place here, but the problem is in the evening, this place is completely deserted. All these work vehicles pretty much take off. So this is going to really stick out. And these are patrolled areas, extremely patrolled. And for some of these vans, just give off that burglars from Home Alone vibe. So we're going to move on to where somebody may be actually using this to move. So this Walmart used to be camper friendly, but you can see they're not so keen on that anymore. So I'm going to take my U-Haul elsewhere and continue looking. But this is a hit and miss. Some of them don't mind, some of them do. A hotel parking lot can be a viable option. And I haven't done this in years, so I haven't really been up to speed on the stealth parking, stealth camping stuff. But I did successfully park my RV back in the day for up to 2 months at this hotel. And that was actually so strange, they never knocked on the door once. But I think my best bet is an older kind of moderately dense residential area with a bunch of construction going on, that type of thing. So I'm going to look around for that, and then I'm going to park this, get out and walk around to not cause too much suspicion, and then I'll return to the vehicle and we'll get set up and hunker down and cook some food, all that good stuff. Okay, now I have found a spot in a residential neighborhood, a normal residential neighborhood. A lot of houses here, apartment building right back there, empty lots, houses for sale, houses sold. So that's awesome. I am parked right here beside this vacant lot, and I gotta get out of the car, crawl into the back. It's all blacked out, but once this traffic subsides, the people driving past, I'll get that a little more comfortable inside. Wow, does this take me back to those days living in the RV where I was looking for a spot to park. Didn't want to freak any people out in the neighborhood, but just needed a spot to park. So it is a trip down memory lane here, guys. We're going to get into this thing and turn the light on here. That should make a world of difference. Okay, inside, things are pretty much insulated. That should definitely help. I don't have a reading on the temperature yet, but I'll get one fairly soon here. We're running the Mr. Buddy heater. Okay. That'll get some warmth going fairly quickly. I put down this mat from home so that I don't cause any problems with the rubber coating on here, because I got the all insurance special on this guy, but it still is $150 deductible, and I don't need that type of stuff. So the propane at this temperature will actually have trouble vaporizing. So you could pretty much, at minus 44, you could spill it out of there and it wouldn't evaporate. It would just sit there like gasoline. So that is definitely inside here, because otherwise it won't work at all. And you can see it does have some trouble vaporizing at the moment. There's little hisses and stuff. But I have the light here running off of the power pack. And I gotta make sure my olive oil doesn't freeze on me. I can see it already wants to. So I have a thermometer tonight, so we're gonna see what the temperatures are like inside and outside. And the way I have the windows covered up, you can't really get in and out and take a peek, but I'm using the side door as the main in and out door. I'm gonna go outside and take a peek to see what we've got as far as visibility. And of course I have my carbon monoxide detector with me as well. Now this Mr. Buddy has a low oxygen shutoff, and I do have the windows cracked because we would run out of oxygen for sure in the middle of the night. So we'll take a peek outside, and this is neat. I think it's the aspect that probably it's frowned upon, but I didn't see anywhere in the rules on the fine print of renting this thing that you can't camp in it. And I don't know. We'll battle the elements tonight and see how it goes.
Nobody likes to be told what to do, except when someone says, "Hey, Peter Reese's!"
Why should I be framed? I'm never the same, but I'm always myself. Paradox and Paradox Intense, the refillable fragrances by Prada.
Safe like repair, safe like replace.
Nobody likes a cracked windshield. But at least you can go to safelight.com and schedule a fix in minutes. Go to safelight.com and schedule a replacement today.
Safe like repair, safe like replace.
when the unexpected happens to your business, NJM will go above and beyond for you. NJM, more than you'd expect from business insurance.
We're serving patients in very, very isolated communities that have no health care. Cybersecurity is extremely important to our patients and our physicians. All it takes is one attack and it can completely collapse our system. This partnership with Microsoft is a game changer for us.
So there's some light coming through. I'll put on another blanket. That should help. Of course, walking around with a camera on doesn't keep it low key, but it looks like it'll do just fine. I've tried to keep the heat down as low as possible. I'm dressed for this despite how it looks. I've got a couple layers of thermal pants on, a bunch of, oh no. Yeah, we're running into heat problems. I think it's a vaporization issue because this cylinder is having some issues, and so is this. So my banana's frozen for the morning. Unbelievable. Let's see if we can get this back in business. Like I say, I'm going to keep working at this and hopefully get this place real warmed up. I was trying to avoid all the frost on the windows in the morning and all the inevitable ice buildup because there's no insulation, but we're going to have to heat this thing up for anything here to work properly. Okay, so we got that figured out. This one, there's 2 regulators on it, and you can tie into either side. That one seems to be having an issue. There could be ice buildup in there or that type of thing, so we'll have to take a look at that regulator eventually. But carbon monoxide alarm, I never leave home without it. Great for camping. And we got to start cooking some food here. This is my butane stove. It's probably the worst thing I could be using because butane doesn't like to flow unless it's above 0. It's warming up in here a bit. It seems to work. So that's good. And my olive oil, I'm going to get this started before this olive oil is completely solid. So it's, well, that'll work. That'll work. Touch of olive oil. I'm throwing in some stewing pork today. Not beef for once. Hard to believe. And as you can see, there's never any need for a cooler or ice or anything out here. This has just been from sitting in here against the wall. It froze up on me. So fry up some pork, and we'll get into the rest of this frozen hunker down type of meal. So while that's cooking, I'm going to enjoy my step 2 today. And being in the vehicle, just having one, and I'm getting this empty out here right away because I don't want open liquor ticket or anything. Not intoxicated, clearly, because I got to play by the rules somewhat when I'm in a vehicle parked on a public street. Yep, not even slightly frozen. So cheers to all the step 2 people. I'm drinking something better than normal. Grand Ole Island Lion's Winter Ale because, you know, it's winter. And wish you guys were all here having one with me. But until then, we'll just have to do this over YouTube, having a beer together. I like these winter ales. They're a thicker beer. It's warming. It warms the soul. this cooked up nicely, and I'm going to throw in some vegetables, and well, a vegetable and a fungus, some mushrooms and onions. The two culprits that always cook down to basically nothing. Never seems to matter how many mushrooms I throw in. You get a tiny little spoonful at the end. Let those cook up, and then it'll be on to the next part of it. It's these things, honey garlic noodles from the sidekick sort of thing. So it'll form together like a nice pasta. I always get called on that. A nice noodle dish. So that's what it's going to be. It's cooked up nicely. You can see how miserable this little flame is. I have to keep warming up this butane cylinder with my hand to keep it going, because it's just a little too cold for the butane. But I'm going to finish off this according to the directions on the package. Noodles. Put in some water, a couple of cups. And I am using this bottled water. I do have a canister that I refill with water. And actually, I refill these a lot too. But I find when I have my water spread out into these little ones, there's less of a chance it'll freeze, which it has. But I could keep a few in the sleeping bag with me at night so that I got water in the morning. And of course, it's not a good recipe without a nice little portion of rich creamery butter. That is a pretty lousy looking flame. So, now heat the cylinder up, bring this to a boil, and then we'll chow down. Well, that cooked up okay. I'll have to admit that. I get some mushrooms in here. Yeah. And yeah, there is obviously some processed food involved in my style of camping, like these ready-to-go noodle packages. But there's a convenience factor because I can't bring the whole spice cabinet with me, and I'm going to start prepping some meals, I guess. I'm slowly getting a little bit healthier. Nothing, no beef this time, no red meat. I don't know. Now that's good. And yeah, one of those larger vans would have been more convenient. I could have actually put a regular bed in the back and the TV and all that, but I didn't trust the doors because there's no passageway from the front into the back. So you're pretty much hoping that nobody closes that latch on the back or steals it and drives away while you're in it. Could be trouble for sure. Nice, warm, comfort food. That's what that is. Oh, yes. I'm gonna finish chowing down here. Try to keep everything from freezing on me, and then we'll do some temperature readings because it's coming up to about the coldest part of the night. I can tell you it's pretty comfortable in here. It's probably 70 Fahrenheit, 20 Celsius, so it's a comfortable temperature. But outside, I know for a fact, my phone, actually, the the screen has seen better days, but it is telling me minus 35 tonight, Celsius, and in Fahrenheit that is getting down there. So we'll see what it actually says on the thermometer. Getting ready to hunker down. A good meal always does that to me, but the thermometer, I have it in the door well. I don't want to go outside and draw any more attention, but I've got the thermometer just in the side passenger door, and I'm gonna pull that out and see what it's reading now. It's probably 11:30 at night right now, and they're calling for the lowest temperature to be around 2 or 3 in the morning. Now, keeping in mind, there's also the heat coming off of this, so I will pull it out and see. Okay. It's actually not working well. It doesn't like the cold. And now it's up to, let's see, minimum minus 50 degrees Celsius. I don't think that's right. That would be minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit. That's what that shows, but there's no way that's correct, or else I'd be in trouble here. But in here, in the live temperature readings, we are, oh, I think that thing wrecked my thermometer here. Yeah, this is having some issues, but it's reading right around, I guess, 13 Celsius now, 13.4. So that's rising nicely, and that's in Fahrenheit will be, let's see, minus 50 Celsius. So yeah, it's around 60 degrees Fahrenheit in here. I can assure you it's not minus 50 outside, but it is cold, so I think somebody just walked by. Just a pedestrian walking by the sounds of it. But the best spot to park is obviously where there's not a sidewalk right beside you, but those are often in really nice neighborhoods where there's a ravine on one side, and that's a whole bunch of problems on its own. So I'm gonna crawl into bed, shut off the lights, hit the hay. See you in the morning. Gonna turn the heater down a little bit there. I would be interested to see how much frost builds up overnight on the inside if it's anything like the ice fishing tent. Ooh. Yeah, I know everybody says you strip down to your bare minimum, but that's to stop the sweat from building up, and I don't see any sweat becoming an issue here, so. Anyway. Guys. Good morning. I found the point at which that power pack won't work. It's about minus 30 and the light goes off, so I've got the windows open. It was a reasonably good sleep. I've been colder before. This sleeping bag probably should have been a little bit more substantial than just the one, but it did the job, so it's perfectly doable to camp out in one of these things. With a bigger one and a little more time, you can make it a lot fancier in here, a lot nicer. But I'm gonna just go to McDonald's for breakfast because bananas frozen, eggs are cracked. I was gonna poach a nice egg. I don't know. I just need a hot coffee, and I gotta use the restrooms too. I've got an emergency bucket here, But I like to not use that as much as possible. So we're gonna head to McDonald's. I think I got a coupon. I hope so. And I'm gonna grab a coffee and a sandwich. And well, first of all, use the restrooms. But we'll start this up because there's some frost on the windows, of course, which is to be expected. I was expecting worse than that, but I had the heater on pretty low last night, so that it didn't give up too much condensation. But yeah, there's chunks of ice on the roof here that I got to get this thing chiseled off before I bring it back, or else I'll lose my cleaning fee or something. I don't know. Yeah. McDonald's